welcome to another episode on Dala Creative TV. Last year I bought myself a big container of white acrylic ink, and I've been wanting to test it out, drawing with the nibs, the ink nibs, the pens with the nibs. I've been wanting to test it for a long time now, so today I am going to use an old canvas and I'm going to make it brand new, and I'm going to play around with the drawing inks. I'm going to use, and I'm going to do this in a mixed media project. The only paint that I'm going to use is craft paint, and I'll use gel medium and gesso. So enjoy. The first thing I'm going to do is to cover my old canvas with some book paper and some collage paper so that I can work over it. Simply tear a couple of pieces of paper and just collage them randomly with the gel medium. Now you can also use Mod Podge or some of the other collage mediums, but I prefer to work with Dala's gel medium. It is no secret that this is my favorite medium because I can use my hands and I can work with it. It's not that sticky and I can wash my hands easily afterwards. Now I'm not going to be worried if it bubbles or buckles. I will remove that now. I just want to cover this page, this canvas with book paper to get rid of the old artwork that I never completed. So I apologize for any background noise. It is quite busy around me. People are renovating, fixing up their houses. I guess people are keeping themselves busy if they are self-isolating. And every now and again I hear a grinder or a lawnmower. People are busy fixing up, keeping themselves busy. Okay, like I said, I'm not worried about fixing it now, because if you collage on a stretch canvas, you can't press too hard, otherwise you will stretch your canvas fabric. So I'm going to show you how to do that to prevent that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just get a card and lightly just go over my canvas to remove some of the excess gel medium. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to press out the bubbles and not wait too long, otherwise this will happen. My paper will stick to the background, to the table. Okay, you can also do this, just hold your hand at the back and just rub lightly to get all the air bubbles out. Okay, so once I've covered the canvas, I've got a few pieces of scrapbooking paper that I'm just going to collage randomly over the canvas. I keep on saying page, but I think it's because I'm working with pages. And let's use that in this corner. Then this piece, I've got a pretty bird and some script. And I'm just going to randomly add it. I'm not too worried about the background. This is just to prepare the canvas for my ink. So next up I'm going to add some of the beach sand craft paint. This is one of my favorite paints, one of my favorite colors. When I do my mixed media paintings, I just love the natural tone of this color, and I use it quite often. So I'm just going to rub it over to knock everything back and prepare an area for me to work with my inks. Because if I put the ink on the black canvas, you are not going to see it in the techniques that I'm going to use. So I've added some random blotches of gesso onto the canvas, and just with a brayer I'm just going to work it in to create white areas for me to work on with the ink. So this is where the fun begins with the ink. I have a spray bottle, and I do have some wet wipes as well, and some kitchen towel to pick up excess spillage. So I want to just add beautiful color to the background that I'm going to create with the ink, so that I can do a beautiful stencil and a nice word or quote. So I have navy blue, processed cyan and turquoise, and let's start with the turquoise. Just adding some drips, and then adding and spraying with water. Now I can see that it's way too much ink, so I'm just going to lift some of that up with a kitchen towel because I don't want it that dark, and just add drops to the canvas and spray it, and see what happens when it blends with the blue. It creates a beautiful purple color. I'm just gonna let it run a bit. And look at the stunning background that it is creating. So I don't want these drip lines. I'm just going to pick them up, dab it away with a kitchen towel, and look at how interesting the textures of the paper and where it did buckle. I'm going to leave it like that because it's beautiful and it creates interest and texture, and I absolutely love it. So next I'm going to use this golden yellow and move slightly inwards because I want to cover the whole background with the ink. I'm just going to spray this and try something different. So I'm going to move the yellow around with the hairdryer now. It's too it blows too much. I've got a good hairdryer. Okay, so that made it green completely. So I will add more yellow to those corners. And rather spray it with water. And just let it move around on the canvas. I'm loving it. I can see that because I'm moving the canvas around so much and it's dripping off the sides, it's removing a lot of the blue. I just want to add that back, spray it, and this blue is really vibrant, so I just want to pick up some of that ink to knock it back a bit. And this up here, it made a bit of a muddy mess. So I'm rather going to leave this, let it dry naturally, and not try to dry it with my hair dryer because it is too strong and I'm blowing away all the ink. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry naturally and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I let it dry outside. It's much better to let it dry naturally. Of course, you can use the hair dryer technique if you work on a much bigger canvas and manipulate and blow the ink around. On a smaller canvas, I would suggest that you use a straw or something to blow through. But anyway, let me continue. I want to have some darker spots because I want to use the white ink. I've never used Darla's white ink before. So in the corners here, I just want to have some of the darker blue. And I'm just going to let that drip off. Please cover your table or whatever you're working on if you don't have a studio or a studio table. I work on a glass surface here, so it's easy for me to again, I just want to remove the lines. I don't want drip techniques. And just want to take some of that away. That looks good. That looks really good. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan of any technique that has got a mind of its own, where you can't control the outcome. You can control it a little bit, but you never, like watercolors. If you paint with watercolors, it has a mind of its own. It flows and it moves. You only have a certain amount of control over it, and that's why I love mixed media, because you can just go ahead and have fun and play and do nice things with it. Okay, next up I'm going to add some of the red, but I don't want, oh no, this is the pink. Oh no, it's the red. It looks pink. Oh, there. That's just the first drop. and spray it and move it around with the water. I don't want to drip this down, so I'm just going to manipulate it with the water and leave it out to dry. I want to just add, just to create some balance, I just want to add one drop in that corner. Otherwise it's going to look like these are just floating around. So again, not going to try and do anything else to this before it dries completely. I'm going to put it out in the sun. Okay, so I just added a few more of the dark blue, navy blue in the corners, because I want to use the white ink with the ink pen and one of these nips. To do some doodling with. I'll choose the paint tip now. What I did is I found a beautiful poem quote about hope, because butterflies is very significant, or the meaning of butterflies. If you see butterflies, it means new life, hope, you know, when a butterfly comes out of the cocoon. So I decided that I'm going to use this beautiful background. Just look at the textures and how that ink worked with the strokes of the gesso with the brayer, and even the paintbrush strokes, and even the seams of the collage paper. Absolutely fabulous background created with the ink. And what I like about it, it's also, depending on how light or dark you make it, you can also still see some of the collage paper and the background paper. So I printed this out on tracing paper because I don't want to cover this beautiful color. So I'm just going to tear it. This is also, the tracing paper is also a tracing paper book from Dala. You can get it from Dala. It's actually meant for tracing, but I am going to collage this onto the canvas. And I did try to print on tissue paper, but my new printer does not like it, and the paper gets stuck all the time. So the next best alternative is the tracing paper. Then I also have this butterfly stencil that I'm going to stencil right here in the middle, and I'll put the quote there and the word here, so I know more or less where I want to put the butterflies. And I just want to dry my brush out a bit, and I don't want to use gesso to collage with. I want to use the, now of course if I'm going to put the gesso over the ink, it's going to smudge, so I'll just put the gel medium at the back of the tracing paper, because I don't want my beautiful inks to smudge. And I will just rub it lightly from the middle outward. Okay, and it doesn't matter if you can't see or read everything. That is not the purpose. I'm going to knock this back anyway a little bit. I did put a little bit of fixative over the printout because I only have an inkjet and I don't want my ink to rub off, so that's why I can work with a gel medium over this printout. Just want to rub these bulges out, and it almost looks like it's waxed. Get some of that air out, and it looks like there's not enough gel medium there, and that's why that happened. That's better. Okay. The tracing paper is, as soon as I make it wet, it curls up, and it is not so easy to work with, but it doesn't matter, it's all part of the whole look. Just want to rub some of that gel medium on my finger so that it does not dry against the tracing paper and get stuck, and then I tear it. Rub some of that air bubbles out. Okay, I'm going to let it dry, and then I will incorporate it into the background. Okay, so this is dry now, but you can see that unlike tissue paper, white tissue paper, when you collage it, it becomes translucent. Not all the tracing paper dries absolutely clear, so you can still see some of the light grayish color of the tracing paper. So, and how we're going to fix that is I'm going to take a wet wipe, and I'm going to put some of the ink onto the wet wipe and just dab on the paper. To incorporate it into the background. Okay, I'm going to take some of the yellow and see if yes, that works perfect. Smudge it with my finger. Just be very careful that it does not run over your whole word. Okay, I used the navy, that's why it's not blending in. There we go. And then some of the turquoise here. Oh, this turquoise is a beautiful color, but it's vibrant. Okay, so that looks pretty, but it's too yellow in this corner. I'm running out of fingers. And I love it. I love how this pink magenta color is running in underneath the paper as well. As long as it does not pick up the whole piece, I'm happy with that. And just do the same on this side. I'm just gonna clean one because I don't want the blue. Look for my yellow finger. Just look how nice this is. It's perfect. Up here I had red that mixed with the yellow. So I'm just going to put a drop of the red. I don't want that red to be so vibrant. Perfect. This looks really great. Okay, so I'm going to let it dry and then continue with the techniques. Okay, so now I'm going to stencil the butterflies in, and I need to get some black paint to do that. Okay, and I'm going to use Dala's black acrylic paint. You need to get a stencil brush and just dab some onto a canvas on the tear of canvas, tear of palette paper, and then just position these butterflies and just stencil them in, just dabbing the black paint onto the canvas. Okay, now this needs to dry completely before we continue because we are going to sand it. Okay, so you also get these handy sanding blocks from Dala. I normally use it just like that, but I don't want the staples to be in the way. So I'm just going to take the sanding paper and just lightly sand over my stencil images to knock them back a bit. Because I don't want it to be so harsh and dark. And I'm just gonna go over with the wet wipe. Perfect. Okay, so I put one of the fine pen tips in. And I'm just going to draw one or two flowers on the dark corners. I'm just dipping my pen into it. And I'm just randomly going to freehand press down on it. Where is it? And just draw maybe what looks like poppy flowers. Oh, I can't remember when was the last time that I worked with a ink pen. Draw some random lines on the flower. Make another one. I'm not really thinking of exactly what it is I want. I'm just drawing lines just to get some onto the canvas. I'm going to hold my pen very loosely and just draw lines around it as well, even if it overlaps. Freehand. And just draw what looks like a leaf. And some of the ink is fading into the background, but that's fine with me. I'm going to do another big one up here. I love this style of drawing because you don't have to worry about anything. Freehand line drawing. My surface is not flat, because remember I've got the mixed media papers and everything at the background. I think that's perfect. What I want to do is I just want to highlight the left side of the letters so that it stands out a bit. Okay, I'm loving this. I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to do quite a couple of ink paintings for the unforeseeable future. This is going to be my medium that I'm going to work with. I love it. I love the unpredictability of the ink, even when I use the pen. Okay, so there's just one or two more things that I need to do. First of all, I'm going to sign it, and then I'm going to finish it off with ink on the edges. I've never done that before either, so I normally, to frame my canvas paintings, I would normally use paint or pastels to do that. I've never done it with ink, so it's trial and error for me as well. Let's hope. Oh, I didn't take this ink out of the cap. I've got a scatterbrain today. Okay, so I was hoping I had one with the longer nozzle. These are the old caps. They now come with this long nozzle, which makes it so much easier if you want to do what I'm going to do now. And I'm just going to spray that in. Going to spray, just let some of it drip away. I don't want it to be so harsh, and just want to create that grungy looking effect. And put a little bit more in the corner. Off. I can see as I move the canvas for some of it to drip off, this came in and this dripped off completely, so I'm just gonna do it again, and instead of letting it drip off, I'm just going to dab it off, just to make it a little bit softer where it's too harsh for me. Okay, so now I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to seal it, and there is my beautiful hope inspired acrylic painting, acrylic ink painting. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. All these techniques that I did today, it's the first time that I've tried it. It's absolutely fabulous to work with. I love it, and I'm going to make quite a few boards, inspiration boards for my studio. Okay, so until next time, bye for now.